we've been talking lately about TV deals and about streaming deals and about the fact that like WWE went to ESPN with their premium live events, but they're also maybe doing a one-off this year to counter-program AEW. We talked about the fact that UFC left ESPN, which helped it grow to a much bigger national audience, and now they're going to Paramount, and they're effectively killing off the pay-per-view model. All this stuff I find really interesting. And at the same time, we've seen some movement, right, with the NHL, where center ice is effectively gone. You can access many out-of-market games through ESPN+. I have long been of the opinion that regional sports networks, the RSNs that we've all kind of grown up on, are going to go the way of the dodo, and it's going to happen sooner rather than later. And the reason that I'm like so bullish on it is I just don't know how that model stands up now. I don't know who's sitting around on a day-to-day basis with NBC Sports Philly on in the background. I don't know how many people are actively tuning in to go watch the channel, the same way that we might have done in high school and even college when there was Daily News Live and Philly Sports Talk, and then you'd go into Sports Night, and then that would kind of lead you into pregame live, and it felt like you wanted to be locked in from like 5 o'clock on. If you weren't locked into Comcast Sportsnet back in the day from 5 o'clock up through the game and then to post-game live, it felt like there was a good chance you were going to miss something important along the way. You would get the perspective of the local writers on Daily News Live. You would get the happy, warm, welcoming and the faces of the folks on Sports Night. And then you would go to pregame live. You'd kind of get yourself hyped up or get yourself feeling even worse about your team as it's, kind of falling apart. You watch the game, and then you either go get to feel the elation of the win after the fact, or you're there to hope that the post-game crew is going to tear into the team as it just blew another game. There was something about that 5 o'clock through post-game that felt necessary. And I don't know when that changed, and it's kind of hard to say because I was at high school 04 to 08, college 08 to 2012. And in the course of those years, it does feel like the behavior and the viewing behavior of sports fans changed. And as we started seeing more streaming services kind of making their way into sports, we started to see that there was a decentralization of the user experience. So you no longer felt like you needed to tune into your regional sports network at 5 o'clock and watch all the way through postgame. No, now you could just kind of cherry pick little clips on social media. And even now, you can cherry pick clips that go around from pregame live or postgame live from NBC Sports Philly. You'll catch those on X. You can catch them on TikTok. Whoever clips them up, you can find that stuff now. You, even to some extent, if you don't want to, you don't have to watch the games anymore. I mean, you can look at somebody locally like Nick Picone who clips up all of the Phillies highlights, right? And then does like the Phillies radio and then Phillies TV and then the opponent's radio and the opponent's TV call. And now you're being served this experience that is far beyond what you're getting by sitting there watching the entire game. Now you don't have to sit through the 2.5 hour game. You can kind of jump in and kind of jump out when you need to. And maybe you're not as locked into every single pitch, but instead you get the notification of Realmuto just hit a home run to go up 6-4. Let's go check out Nick Picone's work. Here's how it sounded on Mariners radio. Like, that's interesting. And it's part of the ever-changing landscape of how sports fans actually take in the games. And so, this is a very, very long intro into the final topic, but it has to do with Major League Baseball, because if you remember on this show, we talked about the news when it broke that ESPN was effectively bailing out on Major League Baseball, that they no longer had the interest in keeping Sunday Night Baseball beyond the season, and that they felt like the NBA and even the NHL and certainly the NFL were better overall investments for their brand, and that maybe declining numbers with Major League Baseball were becoming a little bit more problematic than Major League Baseball wanted them to be. But what's interesting is that the news broke yesterday, and it was a report. It's not confirmed yet, but there was a report that was going around by Kendall Baker from over at Yahoo Sports. And so I'm actually going to throw out to Kendall Baker's tweet from yesterday. And this has all of the scoops, and then I think a couple of them have been updated since yesterday. But man, it is a fundamental changing of how baseball is going to be covered by the national media, because you're not just going to go to like ESPN for Sunday Night Baseball. No. This is very different now. So this was the scoop that went out on Tuesday night. So Kendall Baker puts out, scoop, MLB rights deals are, quote, close to being done, end quote, per sources. What I'm hearing, Apple is fully out. Remember, they've been doing the Friday night game, the game that's the hardest one to find because not everybody has Apple TV Plus. So that would effectively end Friday Night Baseball unless somebody picks it up. NBC Peacock is in for Friday, the Apple package, and Sunday exclusive and wild card. And so the Sunday exclusive is interesting because that would mean that NBC Peacock would then be getting Sunday Night Baseball. So NBC Peacock swoops in potentially, picks up the Apple package for Friday night and Sunday Night Baseball from ESPN. That is a hell of a bit of news. But maybe even more interesting is the next part. MLB TV being sold to ESPN for a boatload of money. Why is that big? Because what did we just see happen? We saw a merging, right, an acquisition of some assets, including NFL Network by ESPN. The NFL then got equity in ESPN. Now, you're adding to that. You're adding to having the NFL Network now under the umbrella, along with Red Zone under the umbrella of ESPN. You have the NHL, right? A lot of those out-of-market games are already available, kind of replacing center ice. That's available through ESPN. And if MLB TV goes to ESPN and they're able to kind of mitigate the downside of the blackout restrictions, that would now mean that the NHL and MLB have pretty much every game available to stream other than some of the national games held by other partners. All of that would live on an ESPN platform, on some version of an ESPN streaming platform. And oh, by the way, they've got Red Zone and they've got the NFL Network. The final note in this was that Netflix gets the Home Run Derby, which would also be really interesting. And like, listen, Netflix has made it no secret that they want to get into the live sports market. Now, Netflix didn't end up getting UFC. They didn't end up getting anything additional with the WWE beyond they have Raw, right? There is a deal internationally, Netflix, with pretty much all of the shows. But in the U.S., at least, they have Raw. They have the show Unreal. There might be a couple of other shows that they're going to be able to kind of spin off of it, but they don't have like SmackDown. They don't have the premium live events. Those all go to ESPN. They don't have the rights to any of these major leagues. Now, there's been the Netflix package, right, with NFL. Remains to be seen what else Netflix is going to do. Them getting the Home Run Derby is a lot of fun. I'm sure they could do all kinds of stuff to lead into it. Netflix would be really smart to do some kind of a show, kind of like 24/7, kind of like Hard Knocks maybe, following some of the participants in the Home Run Derby, maybe for a week or two leading up to it, and then kind of showing you a behind-the-scenes look at the Home Run Derby itself and the fallout from the Home Run Derby. Like, that could be a lot of fun. So all of this kind of came out, right? And then right after this, Kendall Baker puts out, nothing's finalized, which of course means things could still change, but it sounds close. And then also noting ESPN's new DTC, direct-to-consumer app, and app experience launch on Thursday. So then there was an update. And so he also kind of throws that here. MLB TV is a subscription service offering all out-of-market games. It's MLB's version of Sunday Ticket. MLB TV is not MLB Network, so it wouldn't be the same thing as bringing in NFL Network under the ESPN umbrella. And then there were also a couple of things on update, getting more confirmation on MLB TV to ESPN and Home Run Derby to Netflix. The part about Apple being out and NBC Peacock being in, still more up in the air. Based on conversations, Apple is a bit more of a mystery. All of this got me thinking, though. On one hand, you had ESPN that just did not seem to value Major League Baseball the way that Rob Manfred wanted ESPN to value Major League Baseball. And you see how important it is for every streaming service to get live sports rights. It cannot be overstated just how important having live sports rights are to Netflix, to HBO Max, to Paramount, to Amazon Prime Video. They all want to have live viewers. And why? Because, one, there is a a built-in experience and a repeated visitor experience from sports fans that are going to go wherever the leagues are. NFL fans, for the most part, are going to subscribe because they want to see their teams play. You're going to get basketball fans, hockey fans, in this case, baseball fans, that are going to now subscribe maybe to the direct-to-consumer product from ESPN. And if they're cord cutters, this even makes the $30 a month price tag seem even more palatable. Now you get the NHL, you get MLB, you get the NFL Network, you probably end up getting Red Zone out of it. Like, it's a pretty damn good deal at $30 a month if you're a cord cutter. And if you're a cable subscriber, unless you're on like YouTube TV like me, and you don't get the DDC product, it's pretty damn good value. It's a nice little add-on if you're a cable subscriber. So, all of this is to say, I find it interesting that you see Peacock get in on it. You see Netflix get in on it. That then tells me that to some extent there's a possibility that HBO Max and maybe even Amazon Prime Video were in the running to try to get some kind of a package out of it. It's just interesting. I think the whole thing is really, really interesting. And the ESPN product to me, maybe more so than anything, is truly interesting in this. I think I mentioned on Monday, Brian Curtis on the press box had Jimmy Pitaro on, who runs ESPN, right? And they talked about the fact that there's this customized Sports Center experience that they're going to be delivering with this new ESPN direct-to-consumer product. Presumably, they are going to have a way to present you as a Philadelphia Phillies fan or a Philadelphia sports fan a localized version of Sports Center that might not have to show up at 5 o'clock in your feed, but will be available to you on demand. Perhaps you are one of those nasty fans that somehow supports the Cowboys and the Lakers and the Yankees and like Notre Dame or something. And now you're going to have your own customized Sports Center for your janky-ass 90s front-running team fandom. Oh, but my dad was a fan. Oh, my grandfather was a fan. Shut the hell up. Be a grown-ass adult and like the teams that you want to like. I digress. If they're going to present you a customized Sports Center, right, and now you also have Major League Baseball, NHL, some NFL assets as well, well, all of a sudden, that decentralized fandom that I talked about, that user journey, that viewer journey that once was in place with your regional sports network where you would watch a daily news live, lead into pregame live, into the game, into postgame live, while that has largely died off, you're going to essentially get a customized version of that with ESPN, right? Like, if you get this customized Sports Center, and then they feed you into a pregame show that maybe is for the league, right? Maybe is for Major League Baseball. It's more of a league-wide pregame show, but they're touching on your favorite team as well, or it's an NHL game, they're touching on your favorite team as well. Then you have your game, and then post-game, they hit you with another like customized Sports Center, and then Scott Van Pelt is on later on. They're going to keep you in that app. And then they're also going to be able to feed you recommended content. Like if you're trying to navigate away from something on the live feed on this ESPN app, maybe they hit you with like a best of Phillies. Maybe they hit you with like some kind of a Phillies yearbook for '08. I think that ESPN product that people kind of scoffed at initially is going to effectively replace regional sports networks. The way that I thought RSNs were going to die off, and you can go back, you can check episodes from 2024 of this show. You can go back to episodes of Snow the Goalie from a year ago. I've been saying for a long time, I think the RSNs are going to die. And what will ultimately happen is you're going to see a streaming platform come in, and that streaming service is going to try to buy the rights to all the games, the same way that Apple TV has Major League Soccer. I thought there was a very good chance you would see somebody come in, swoop in, and pick up all of the out-of-market games. It happened with the NHL, with ESPN. I did not expect it to happen with Major League Baseball, but if they are going to acquire MLB TV and you're going to get all the out-of-market games as well, it kind of removes the need for regional sports networks. And in fairness, if you've been somebody who's subscribed to cable for practically no other reason than wanting to be able to keep up with your teams, well, now not only do you have a service that's going to serve you, your team, and your team's games, but they're also going to give you all the games so that, like, All right, Phillies game's out of rain delay. I have 8 other games that I can pick from in the same app. Yeah, that's kind of a game changer. That's certainly something that's going to move the needle for a lot of sports fans. I have to admit, though, I didn't think ESPN was going to be the one to do it. I thought that you would get an HBO Max or a Paramount that needed the subscribers desperately. They were going to swoop in, or an Amazon that has more money than God, that they would kind of swoop in and they'd be the ones to do it. Or that a Netflix that wants more and more live content, that they'd be the ones to swoop in. But it does look like, at least as of right now, ESPN is going to be the one to get it done.